Cheryl is checking if Polly is
Alive.
alive.
It's giving Gossip Girl Tinter.
Yes, it is. It's giving Gossip Girl when there's like GLAM.
ORUS.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah.
Yeah. But we've got Josie and the Pussycats singing the Riverdale alma mater.
Yeah, we don't hear a lot of the words, etc.,
But
but
it's
we get
giving
the
slay.
vibe. It's giving slay. So
We've got the homecoming dance coming up.
homecoming.
And the theme's Blast from the Past.
Blast from the Past. Speaking of Blast,
We have Cheryl.
This is all montage.
Yeah, she's showing off her flexibility.
Yeah, Sergei Eisenstein montage. I went to film school.
And we just kind of are getting a lot of like, everybody's getting ready for school.
Yeah.
And Mary, Archie's mom. I almost said Archie's dad.
Wow.
She does wear the pants.
Oh,
but,
trust.
Mary and Archie are talking at the table, and he's like, listen, I know you're here because I drunk dialed dad. And she was just kind of here to like check on him, but they're still getting divorced. Like, she's like, don't get it twisted. Like, we're not getting back together.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm here to like support you and check on you.
Yeah, I'd love to hear you sing. I hear you've been singing, you little singer.
You
and
little
he
singer.
goes,
And he's
well.
like, well, yeah, I'm totally singing at the dance. He has not cleared this with anybody.
But, you know, a promise made is a promise kept.
Especially when it comes to Archie Andrews.
Especially. We pop over to the Pembroke and we get a return to Paul.
Yes.
Via phone, yeah.
Mr. Sourberry, Hiram's lovely attorney,
is calling up Hermione.
Yeah, he's calling up Hermione. He's being like, guess what, Slay? You and Ronnie talking about how much you love Hiram actually made a difference, and he's going to be getting out like imminently. And they're like, oh. And Ronnie's like, what about the crimes he committed? And Hermione's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like,
He's never done anything.
Up. Yeah. Which is cray.
It is kind of cray. Hermione's giving denial. Yeah. Big time.
Denial is a river in Egypt.
Your husband
is gay.
Is a felon. Yeah.
Yes. Dochi the Don, Dochi the Dean, Dochi Supreme.
Exactly. And you know what? I know Dochi was watching this episode of Riverdale when she was thinking about writing Denial's River, even though this is years and years and years before the events that inspired that song even happened.
Well, that's because when she was experiencing them, she was like, oh my God, this is just like Riverdale. I bet.
And she had to go back.
I bet.
Yeah. Okay, I think we've got there.
So next
up, we get the reveal that Pop sells donuts. And I'm a little scared by that.
Bored now. So Jughead is bringing some Pop's donuts and coffee to his papa, FP. FP shaved.
He shaved. He looks damn good.
Cleaned up.
I like a 5 o'clock shadow on him more.
I love a 5 o'clock shadow on him.
I love it when he looks like he hasn't slept in a couple days. I'm like, my man. But yeah, he's shaven. He cleaned the place. I think he like painted the walls.
Yeah, everything looks amazing. Immaculate.
I feel like this, and I'm gonna just say something. I feel like this was just an excuse to be like, yeah, the trailer looks better. We got a better trailer, and now he's actually just cleaned.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, Jughead is like, oh my God, my dad is like doing so much better. He's getting sober. And they're talking. He actually read a draft of Jughead's manuscript.
Yeah, the one he's writing about Jason Blossom's murder.
The frame of all of this narration and stuff. So.
And FP's like, so like, who do you think did it? Like, I'm kind of intrigued.
He's like, I love your work, son. Yeah. Like, you've studied this so much. Who do you think did it?
And Jughead's like, it's not as much like who did it. It's like, is Riverdale a town that can be redeemed?
Yeah, is Riverdale a town of good or evil?
And it's like, no, because you are concerned about who did it.
Yeah, that's actually a little bit more important.
But okay, go off, Jug.
And FP is like, well, it's always both, son. A little good, a little evil.
And he's like, if I were you, I wouldn't dwell on this too much.
If I were you, I'd actually get off the case.
Like, publish this maybe.
But this shouldn't be your only story.
This isn't the only or the most important story that you can tell.
Yeah.
And Jughead's like,
oh,
okay, sure. Thanks for reading it. Like, damn.
But He actually is very appreciative.
Yeah, it's actually like, it's sweet. Jughead has his little twinkle in his eye. He's happy. He's smiling a lot in this episode.
He is.
So
that won't
good.
last.
It will not last.
So
the other shoe is going to drop, just so we're clear.
Yes.
The narrative will not let Jughead be happy.
And honestly, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, he looks better when he's sad. Oh yeah. So now we're finally at school, and Archie and Veronica are talking about the fact that they smooched.
Yeah. Well, Archie's talking about it. Ronnie's like, deny.
Yeah.
We are like your boyfriend material, Archie, but I don't have the bandwidth for that right now. So actually,
which is exactly what she says. I don't have the bandwidth for that. So and Archie's like, oh,
okay. So
fine.
yeah. So okay, bye. So Archie's like, well, I would want to pursue something with you, Ronnie. Like maybe, like I don't regret anything we did or said. And Ronnie was like, I don't either.
But I can't do it.
But I can't do it right now. And I was like, oh.
Which is kind of fair because she is going through
like a murder investigation.
Well, and she thinks her dad's involved.
She thinks her dad
so it's like it's a whole thing.
There's a whole thing, yeah.
So I understand, sort of. But and then we follow Veronica from this conversation to the blue and gold room.
Yes.
Where her and Betty and Alice are talking about who they think did it.
And Alice is just shotgun. Anyone could have done it. Like, everyone's catching strays. She's like, everyone is a suspect now, including those dang old pussycats.
And then does not follow it up with anything.
And it never comes up again. And I'm like, Alice.
Alice, what? Writers, why do we keep this in?
In what world would all 3 pussycats
kill Jason Blossom?
Organize to kill Jason Blossom.
And cover it up? I don't understand that one.
I don't get it at all. I don't get it at all. But they steamroll right past it, and Ronnie's like, well, let me tell you why I think my dad did it.
Yeah. And honestly, throughout this whole episode, Veronica's like, okay, so that's cool, but like, what if my dad did it? And I mean, she is like valid in worrying. But it's literally every single conversation about
not to jump
the murder.
Ahead, but Archie at one point goes, Ronnie, do you want your dad to have done it? And she's like, I just need to know. And I'm like,
it's like, I mean, yes, but also like other people are going through it, Ronnie. Like, let's have some empathy here.
Yeah. But she's telling Alice about her theories, about la 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 la. And Alice leaves that kind of debrief being like, well, if Hiram really did pay off the serpents, that means we need to like dig up some dirt on FP.
And Betty's like, oh, no, girl.
She's
we're not
like,
going through. I already talked to Jughead about it. Jughead already said he doesn't believe that his dad could do it. So and I believe Jughead.
I wouldn't like degrade Jughead by entertaining this line of thought.
Right.
And Alice is like, well, I fear we need to find a murderer. So
yeah, I fear we need to figure this out. Yeah. And she says, you know, I saw him and Joaquin talking, so you know, maybe that gay greaser serpent is involved, which is exactly how she says it.
And that's so accurate.
And it's accurate. So, I mean, go Alice, I guess. When she was rear windowing, she really like was cooking up ideas, quips, one-liners, perhaps.
And that's so us, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
When Ronnie and Alice have a moment alone together, though, Ronnie is like, hey, so Diva Alice, I know Betty is really attached to the Lodge family. I don't carry those ties with me. I'm down to snoop, and like, if you're following this lead, I'm help
down
you,
to snoop on FP. Yeah. Like, listen, I like Jughead, but I'm not like that attached to him. So.
Yeah, like, and honestly, I also hear the point of like, whether or not you're attached to Jughead, his father could still be doing crazy stuff. Like,
exactly.
He's not his father's keeper.
Exactly. I think a lot of people in this town are conflating like parents, children.
Yeah.
Like, you can be different than your family.
Yes.
And I think one thing about Riverdale is I think it does try to make that clear in some sense. And then it will walk it back.
And then it always walks it back.
So it's sort of like, what do you believe, Riverdale?
What's your ethos?
Like, do you believe that we can change? Or do you believe that we all have like a set destiny? Because it...
Yeah. Is it preordained, or like, do we have free will, really?
And it honestly, it doesn't feel like we have free will.
And that's a big question to be posing.
It is a big question. So honestly, like, guys, I think you really need to give Riverdale a chance. Like... There's deep philosophical meaning in every scene.
In every line.
Every single scene.
Every utterance. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of, we do get one of my favorite scenes.
Philosophical import. We have
one of my favorite scenes ever where we find out that Clifford Blossom does not have red hair.
The way that we find this out is Polly is snooping around the Thornhill, the Blossom household, because she's like convinced that they're involved in Jason's murder.
Right.
She's snooping around the East Wing where Cliff and Penelope's bedroom is.
Their living quarters.
Their living quarters.
Is what Penelope says later.
So Polly's snooping around. She like opens a door and we see this like rack of, dare I say, 8 to 10 red wigs. Male units.
Quite a few. All of the faces look different for some reason. I'm kind of confused at that because it's all supposed to be Cliff. But
yeah, but Polly like creaks open the door and she sees this wall and then she sees Cliff in front of his dressing mirror.
White hair.
With white silver fox hair.
And he like runs over, slams the door, which I would shit myself if this
if Cliff de-dragged was running at me.
It would be like Get Out, where they're like,
it'd be just like Get Out.
Exactly. I remember seeing this and being like, oh my God, he's not even a ginger. Like I was so freaked by it.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty important.
No, it is.
And so then we come back to school. Yeah. And from one Blossom to another, Cheryl interrupts the peeps at lunch.
And let's just remember, this is after last episode.
Where she was being an absolute fucking menace to literally everybody.
Outed Archie's pedophilia case. Outed, in part, Grundy, Archie implicated in Jason's murder. Outed in part, Betty's going Dark Betty on Chuck.
Was accused of twin sex. Has not said a word about that.
Like, all of that happened, and it's going to be unaddressed. But she's coming up to them at school to be like, hey, so Polly and I are running for co-homecoming queens.
Vote for us.
And that's so
I would deck her if this happened. A like tiny plot in this episode is Betty is supposed to be like decorating for homecoming, but she doesn't want to because there's all this stuff going on. So she's like stressed out about it.
Yeah.
And Archie's like, hey, I kind of told my mom I'd be singing. And Betty's like,
okay?
Your songs are a little depressing.
They kind of, Jughead says they make you want to slit your wrist in a good way.
Which is crazy. And everybody's like, yeah, like in a great way. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, they are all like trauma songs about
But
Grundy,
I honestly don't think I'll Try would make me feel anything. I'm sorry. We know I have a thing about I'll Try.
I'll try.
Like, I'm sorry. That's not going to make me want to do anything but go to sleep.
If you gave me Archie Andrews in a fireplace.
The things that would happen.
The things, I'd leave a surrogate, I fear. I think
We're expecting. Oh my God.
So Betty is like, no, Archie, you can't perform. And Ronnie goes, well, actually, we were going to do a duet and do some upbeat covers, so it would be okay. And Archie's like, we are? And Ronnie's like, aren't we? And Betty's like, I mean, I guess if it's upbeat, you can do it. Whatever. And
she's like, whatever, fucking just figure it out.
Just figure it out. And so then Archie corners Ronnie a little bit later and is like, hey, so I'm glad you had a change of heart, but like last we talked, you didn't want anything to do with me via Kissgate. So like,
what's up?
Why do you want to do a duet
And
now?
she's like, well, I'm hoping if I do this, maybe you'll help me out with something.
A big favor I need to ask.
Which, okay, manipulation.
Yeah.
But she's like, hey, so I talked to Alice.
Yeah.
And Archie's like, whoa, not that bitch.
Yeah.
The one that was trying to accuse me of being the problem with the Grundy situation.
Yeah, and threatened to out me and Grundy to the entire town before Cheryl had the chance to.
Right.
Well, yes. And Ronnie's like, well, Alice has this theory that FP could be who my dad paid off to murder Jason. So I'm trying to snoop on FP. You have the in with Jughead. Do you think we could like corner Jughead / corner FP to like snoop?
To snoop.
Get some evidence, get some dirt. And Archie's like, Ronnie, you snake. No. Like,
Like, I wouldn't do that to
I wouldn't do that to Jughead, my
Jughead.
hetero life partner.
Ronnie's like, well, don't you want to, like, help Jughead not have his dad be a crazy murderer?
Yeah.
Which, like, okay, that doesn't make sense. But, like, low-key, it does make sense to go search FP's trailer.
It does.
It's just she's coming at it from, like, a purely, like, my dad place.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, but Archie's like, I don't know about that, and they kind of like leave that conversation. And then we get Betty a la sort of Troy and Chad painting in detention.
Yeah,
the theater set. She's decorating for homecoming.
She's on it's also very evocative of Carrie. She's up on the ladder.
That's true. Betty calls Polly. And she's like, hey, Polly Poo, I need you to, like, leave the house. Like,
heard you were running for homecoming queen. That's kind of cray. Please get out of there.
Like, get out of there. You haven't found anything yet. She's like, our deal was if you didn't find anything from homecoming or by homecoming, you would come home.
Yeah. Well.
And she's like, just give me one more second. I know I can find something. Oh, hold on. Somebody's coming in.
And, well, it's Penelope with Polly's daily milkshake.
Which Polly sips suspiciously.
Because Penelope is like, who is that? What are you up to? Why are you in the East Wing?
Why are you snooping on Cliff and I's living quarters?
You know that's off limits. And Polly's like, I'd never do that again. It's very Rosemary's Baby for those in the know.
Yes. Sipping her milkshake.
Yes.
Thinking, planning, plotting. And then we cut back to Betty coming down from the ladder.
And Jughead has come in.
And he bounds up like a little puppy. He's like, so excited.
Oh my gosh, your mom just told me about, like, the invitation to dinner. I'm so happy.
Like, I'm so excited our families are meeting. And
this
Betty's
is so
like,
big for me.
Yeah, that is great. That's actually great. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go talk to my mom. And she's like, Mom, I know you're fucking inviting them because you want to grill them. And I would rather you not do that.
Alice is constantly making a peach pie from scratch.
Oh, that's true.
And she's like, I would never do anything like that, Betty, dearest. It's just like the next stage in a budding relationship. I just want to meet the Joneses. And I'm like, whoa.
Like, okay.
Chills down my
Meet
spine.
the Joneses. You and FP were definitely banging.
You were jonesing for that FP.
We know this.
For his FP.
And so from one house, we go across the street. Mary and Fred are gonna go to homecoming together with Hermione.
Which was Mary's idea.
Yes.
Because
she ran into Hermione
at Andrew's construction. They had a little, not diva off, but we're really seeing the, like, nonchalant level of Mary Andrews.
Yeah, she does not give a fuck. She is just like, hey, I'm here. Things are happening. And like, I'm just here for my son. I don't give a shit about anything else. Like, actual fuck about anything else.
Nothing else. And it's kind of iconic.
It is very iconic.
Yeah. She's like ordering takeout with Fred. Like, she's citing off everyone's favorite orders. She's like, I just am here for a good time.
Like, I'm here. I'm having a great time.
And Archie's crashing out.
Yeah. And Archie's like, I'm not used to seeing you guys together. This is cray.
Yeah.
And Jughead comes in and he's like, oh, hey.
Family meeting? Do I need to come back later?
And then, later, him and Archie are next to each other in their separate beds.
They just need a little pillow talk to, like, debrief the day.
Yeah, and just in case you think we're projecting anything from this, there are multiple shots of them, like, turning over to, like, look at each other.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just, there's so much here. It can't just be us.
There's so much here. Archie's in the nude, essentially.
Yeah, he's in his boxers. Like, this is him putting his pants on.
Like
they were not on.
They were not on.
Guys, this is big.
And so, like, him and Jughead are just, like, talking about their feelings and, like, their emotions.
They really are.
And like,
Jughead has a pillow from Archie's bedspread. He does not have his own pillowcase. Like,
well, of course.
This is big.
Because everything surrounding him, he's encompassed by Archie's essence.
Like him and Archie have enveloped into each other. Like
it's quite like
they're endosymbiont theorying.
Ooh.
A bacteria has engulfed them. Archie's a bacteria that's engulfed Jughead, and he's gonna become the mitochondria.
Fuck a bear. Fuck a silver fox. I'm gonna
endosymbiont.
ravenous for this.
Yes, very that.
But they're chit-chatting, and Jughead is talking about how he feels like his dad is doing better. And Archie's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Jughead is like, yeah, he actually like read my manuscript. And even more than that, like he engaged with it. He was asking me questions about it. And Archie's like, well, what kind of questions? And he was like who I thought did it, and like whether or not like this was like a case worth pursuing and stuff. And Archie was like, FP asked you who you thought did it and told you maybe you shouldn't pursue the case.
And Jughead's like, stop repeating everything I'm saying. It's getting annoying.
Yeah. And Archie's
like, I gotta go. I forgot my mom loves almond milk in her coffee. Bye. And he just like shoves his pants on, shoves his shirt on, like hops over Jughead and runs.
And Jughead, as Archie's throwing on his pants, Jughead is like, Archie, you're such a bad liar. I know you're going to see one raven-haired mistress.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh, you
Jughead?
You and your raven hair?
From one raven-haired mistress to another. Archie's running shirtless in the middle of the night to tell Ronnie this news. Seems like FP was trying to silence Jughead's investigation, so maybe you do have a point. Maybe FP is involved. So Ronnie, what if I do help you like snoop on FP?
And she's like, perfect.
Then we go back to Thornhill.
And we have kind of a parallel moment between Cheryl and Polly as we did as with Betty and Cheryl,
where Cheryl is putting on Polly's makeup.
They're getting ready for homecoming.
A lot of blue eyeshadow. Polly is like, yeah, Cheryl, I'm so excited for homecoming. I have an idea though. Like, I think we should like snoop through your mom's like
vintage
closet,
jewelry,
her like beautiful drag jewels, and like get some like fun pieces during the Hoko. And Cheryl's like, you're a bad girl, Polly. And I'm like,
oh my God,
ah. Oh my God, ah. They're going through the jewelry. Polly is like trying to snoop around the closet. She's poking around the wigs. She's like looking at different things. Cheryl is going through the jewelry, and she opens a box.
And what's in this box? Nana Rose's heirloom ring. But Jason had that.
Jason had that the day that he was murdered.
So how did they get
into
it?
Penelope's closet.
And she's like,
Cheryl holds it up, and Polly's like,
how the fuck does your mom have that?
How the fuck did your mom have that? And then Cheryl grabs Polly by the arm.
She's immediately not making it look good for her.
No, she's like, never get it twisted. Just because you have those precious lives inside of you, don't assume that makes you safe.
It's like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. Polly like runs out. Cheryl like holds on to the ring.
So we're assuming Cheryl's got this ring.
Yeah.
And
but a crazy find.
Crazy huge find. So what's going on there, guys?
So what's going on there? This is big moves in the direction of Polly's suspicion that the Blossoms
had something to do with Jason's murder.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not clear from this threat from Cheryl that she wasn't in on it.
Exactly. Like, it seems like she knows something she's not supposed to.
Yeah.
And so from this, we go to the lovely, awesome dinner between the Joneses and the Coopers.
Everyone's in their little Hoko fits because, again, for some reason, all of the parents are also going to homecoming. None of them say the word chaperone. They're just kind of like, I guess it's like blast alumni.
But I would be annoyed if this was happening.
Yeah, my homecoming, it was just students.
It
feels like a liability to have like
adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Earlier in the episode, Alice said she prepared a list of subtle questions to kind of guide conversation.
So that she could snoop on FP.
Yeah. And if this was the questions, they are not subtle. She's like, so did you kill? She's basically just like, so did you kill Jason, or like, what's up?
And FP is like, hey, you can call me a serpent. Remember, you were one too, Alice.
So calm the hell down. And then there's a knock at the door.
And Betty's like, I'll go get it. Who could it be?
Betty invited Hal Cooper.
She was like, okay, Mom, you want to play a game? I'll play one too. She's like,
here's Hal.
Here's Hal. Like, was you like organized this dinner because it's so great for our two families to like come together? Well, this is my father, so you know. And
then Hal's like, hey, FP, got any vacancies at the trailer park? Cause I'm living in the office because some crazy bitch here kicked me out.
And FP is like, I'm sure the office is more comfortable than the trailer. Ha ha ha.
And Hal's like, oh, it's not really, because Alice is doing renovations. You know, she threw a brick in the window.
And she goes, she's holding her wine, and she goes, the next brick I throw might not be at the window.
Like, ooh, okay. And FP's like, you know what? It's funny you guys are talking about all of this, because it reminds me of, like, reminiscing about our high school days, like,
yeah,
homecoming. It's really funny because, like, you guys were like king and queen of
yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
Because I overheard you guys like yelling, screaming at each other, and it sounded like life or death. So like, what was that about, guys?
Yeah.
And everybody's just kind of like,
because we can assume this could have been the conversation where Hal pressured Alice into that abortion.
So it's like, ooh, and he's like, don't jerk me around in front of my son.
Yeah. And well, Alice would never jerk it.
Alice would never. She's a classy lady. Betty's like, okay, this was fun and all. Let's go to homecoming. Ronnie and Archie, They're snooping
because, well, remember, this is all connected because Ronnie and Alice planned it so that they would know that FP and Jughead were out of the house because Alice had them at dinner. So that leaves, you guessed it, the Sunnyside Trailer Park open for Ronnie and Archie to snoop. They're digging. They're going through like the drawers, the closets, every single surface of the trailer.
There's nothing.
And
Ronnie's like, oh, there has to be something here.
And Archie's like, isn't it like low-key a win if we don't find anything though? like
it's good that
he's
FP
not a murderer.
Is not a murderer and your dad isn't implicated in this because like otherwise that would suck.
And then Ronnie's like, I just need to know. And Archie's like, hey,
baby girl, it's time to calm down.
Regardless of what happens, I'll be there for you.
And it's actually sweet. And then
I'm breaking dishes. Oh no.
I ain't gonna stop till I see police lights. Archie and Veronica, they're smooching. And then they're off to homecoming together.
Which is cute because they have a big number to perform.
They do. Polly is like talking to Penelope.
Yes.
And she's like, hey, bestie, why do you have the ring? And Penelope's like, oh, well, when Jason left us, he told us that he never wanted to be a Blossom, and he hated us, and he threw the ring at us as like a final fuck you.
At Cliff, specifically.
As like a final fuck you, because...
Of like he's casting off the name, the family, everything, the legacy.
And it's awful. Here, Pollykins, have your daily milkshake.
And you guessed it. It was drugged.
It was drugged. Polly is now drugged.
Out.
Fully pregnant.
Penelope, because Cheryl walks up and she's like, oh my God, we were going to be co-homecoming queens together.
What the hell?
And Penelope's like, no, she just was going through a tizzy. I gave her like a totally safe herbal supplement, totally safe for the babies, but she'll be asleep till morning. And this is the first taste, our first nibble of Penelope's herbology.
Yes. And so then Cheryl's like, was that true about the ring?
About like him throwing it at you, Daddy? And Cliff is like,
yes, it is, of course.
Yeah, like.
And he's like, honestly, all this time I was grooming Jason to be the new Blossom heir, but
it should have
been you
Cheryl.
Because he couldn't stomach half the stuff that we have to deal with.
You're a Blossom to the core.
Cheryl goes, I did get rid of the ring, by the way.
And they go,
flushed it down the toilet because I thought maybe if people came asking, then it would look better if it just wasn't there. And did I do something wrong, Daddy?
And Cliff is like, no, you are a Blossom because you did the right thing there.
They're like, no, you're very good, sweetheart. Very good. And then she goes to homecoming. So, FP drops Jughead off. And before he has Jughead leave the car, he's like, hey, I'm thinking about going back to Toledo with your mom and your sister.
Yeah.
Come with me.
We'll have the whole family together in Toledo. And Jughead like looks up at Betty in her homecoming dress and he's like, okay, Dad, like that's big. I'll think about it because this is a big, like,
it's a big decision.
Jughead is just now getting like a girlfriend, like his hetero life partner Archie. Like there's a whole network forming in Riverdale for him.
And when he's gazing at Betty, what song should play?
Paradise Size.
Exactly.
Ethel Cain was watching this.
No, exactly.
So many of our favorite artists watched this episode.
Exactly. This one specifically. Then we get the throuple of the century.
And you'd think we'd already have seen that.
But no.
In walks Fred, Mary, and Hermione.
And he's like, I'm used to only having one hot lady on my arm, and now I have two. What did I do to get so lucky?
Meanwhile, both of these women are his exes.
Yeah, and it's kind of hilarious and messy.
Active divorce with one, struggling gang violence business partner with the other.
Like, there's a lot going on here, but he's living it. And Mary goes off to powder her nose.
And who does she run into?
Alice Cooper.
And they have a diva off.
They do.
Oh, something fierce.
But in a rare Alice L, she does not win the diva
Mary
off.
is just too nonchalant.
Alice.
Because Alice starts off with a pretty good thrust. She goes, oh, I just saw that you and little Fred's floozy Hermione came in together. I didn't realize you were polygamist, Mary. Mary is on the immediate parry, and she goes, oh, come off it, Alice. You've done the same routine since middle school. It was tired then.
She's like, I don't care if Fred and Hermione boinked. I don't care. I'm having a good time. He's a big boy. He can do whatever he wants.
It's not like you're getting any, Alice. Like,
it's like, ooh. And then it's just like, yeah, okay, Alice, what now?
Okay, Alice, what now? And Alice is like, sorry, I have to make a call. Because you'll remember, she's organizing Minnie a Snoop on this night.
And so her Snoop conspirers.
They're back. From the FP trailer Snoop, it's Archie Ronnie for a debrief with Alice at the dance.
Yes. And Betty Dolly Zoom sees this. She's like...
You ever just Dolly Zoom see something?
No, exactly. She was like, oh... So she barrels over to Archie and Ronnie and is like, hey, what the fuck is going on? And they're like, sorry, we have to go perform.
Yeah. By the way, Betty was talking with Mayor McCoy and Principal Weatherby.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
It's very inconsequential, but yeah, that's what she like runs away from them, goes, talks with Betty, Archie. They flee to perform the infamous
Kids in America.
For the kids in America.
Whoa.
Another iconic musical number intercut with drama, police, intrigue, murder.
Yes. And Sheriff Keller, he's had an anonymous tip that something's amiss at FP's trailer.
So sirens. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. They're knocking on FP's door. He opens it. He's like, huh? Sheriff Keller goes, I have a warrant.
Time for me to search your place.
So
they're going through it. And remember, Archie and Veronica already did this. Yeah. They didn't find anything.
But Sheriff Keller is doing it. We get a lot of shots of like FP just sitting there like,
what the hell?
We're intercutting with Ronnie and Archie doing epic dance choreo.
And they're also like all over each other. And so everybody in the audience is like clocking that tea.
Yeah.
And we're also getting little... This is really funny. Cheryl and Betty are crashing out in the audience.
They're having an awful time at homecoming because like...
Cheryl's like, hey, my parents drugged Polly and like something really strange is going on. And so she's like crying, freaking out. She leaves.
Betty is like, oh my God, I feel like I've betrayed Jughead and my mom thinks that his dad is like a murderer. And also Ronnie and Archie went behind my back and did a bunch of stuff.
But I don't know what. So I'm like really confused and they're just over there singing it and they're also all over each other. Like, what's going on?
Meanwhile, Alice is in the back.
And she's like, whoa.
We cut back to that trailer search.
And they find a lockbox, which
wasn't there when Ronnie and Archie searched in FP's closet.
So what the fuck's going on? And inside said lockbox, not just a gun, the gun that killed Jason Blossom.
FP looks up from the couch where he was sitting
and he's like, hello? What's that?
What the fuck is that?
And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. And they take him downtown. We have Kev and Joaquin.
They're doing a lovely little slow dance.
They haven't heard anything yet, but Jughead comes up in a tizzy and is like, Where's Betty? Where's Betty? Anybody seen Betty? Like, I literally can't find her.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're dancing. Hello?
Yeah.
And, Joaquin is looking troubled at this. He's like, what's going on right now?
They were having a very intimate dance convo about, like, I've never had a boyfriend before. Like, I really like you, la. Suddenly, Sheriff Keller's, like, at the dance. The police are there talking with Mayor McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin is like,
what's my dad doing here?
So he flits over.
Mm-hmm. And before we can hear that conversation,
we're out in the hallway.
We're out in the hallway with Betty, Archie, and Veronica.
Because she's cornered them post Kids in America performance to be like, so what actually did you do behind my back?
Because, like, there's something the fuck going on here.
And,
And they're like, we searched his trailer, but we didn't find anything, so it's okay. And Jughead comes up and he's like, hey, guys, why am I suddenly feeling left out?
This is our last Jughead smile for a long time.
Oh, yeah. And
Betty's like, do y'all want to tell him or should I? And so Archie steps up and he starts explaining. And he's like, dude, we checked FP's trailer out. And Jughead is like,
you did what?
You think my dad's a murderer, Archie?
And then they're like, but we didn't find anything. It's fine. Like, we're cool. We didn't find anything.
And then Jughead is like,
how did you guys know we wouldn't be there? And Veronica's like, well, Alice did tell us, like, you guys were having a dinner. And he's like,
that's why we had the dinner?
So I wasn't invited just to hang out. I was
to meet your family
actually invited
for our relationship.
To be grilled. And he decides this is Betty's fault, which it's not, by the way. Betty
tried so hard to not have this happen.
And he goes, I can't believe I was going to pass up Toledo for you.
Whoa. This is the first that Betty, Archie, Ronnie have heard of this.
It's big.
It's big.
Kevin and some parents come in.
The wildest group. It's Kevin, trailed by Mary, Fred, Hermione, and Alice. They run out. Kevin is like, Jughead, I'm so sorry. My dad just told me about the news that your dad's been taken downtown for the murder of Jason Blossom.
And Jughead is like, what? And so he takes off.
He runs out of the building. Betty is screaming.
Betty's crashing out. She's like, no, Jughead.
She's got a big tear.
Yeah, Lily Reinhart, actually every single person
on the
in this
show
cast is so good at giving a one big, huge tear. He runs down the street. Everybody's like, Jughead, no, Jughead, no. And he runs to the trailer and breaks in.
Through the police tape.
And breaks down. And this is the first time we've seen Jughead cry like this. It's bad. He's like,
throwing things, clawing at his hair, his beanie.
It's bad. It's really bad. It's really sad.
It is.
And we get some fallout from this at the Cooper house.
Yeah.
Betty is like, I have to go find him.
Yeah.
She's texting Archie. She's like, we need to go find him. Like, I can't just like abandon him.
Yeah.
Like, I can't sleep without this. And she's like, Mom, like, I love him. Mm-hmm. And so this is the first time we hear she loves Jughead. She's like, I can't just let him go.
Yeah.
And so she runs to go try to find him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to the Pembroke. And we have Hermione and Ronnie. They hold hands and we feel a sort of resolute strength
yes.
between the two of them. Like, if Hiram is involved in this, we're not going to talk to him anymore.
Yeah.
And we'll see where this gets them.
And Ronnie's like, even if we cut ties with him, is he going to let us go that easy?
And then we've got another fallout at the Andrews house.
Yes.
And Mary's like, well, before all of the stuff, finding out about Jughead's dad, I was going to ask you to come to Chicago with me because it's safer there. Which, not to hate on Chicago, but
I don't think any big
city. It's a city. A city is going to be more dangerous than a suburb.
Yeah. Or like, again,
unless
we don't
it's
know
Riverdale.
The size of Riverdale. We could call it a suburb.
We could call it
a metroplex.
Yeah, who fucking knows?
The tri-state area.
Like, who knows? And then we go to Thornhill.
Oh, God, do we?
Oh, God, do we? Cheryl is checking if Polly is alive. Don't worry, it's a CoverGirl compact mirror.
Don't ever get it twisted.
Don't ever get it twisted.
Yeah.
Riverdale's very brand loyal to CoverGirl.
For now. So, yeah, she sees that Polly is in fact breathing. She puts a blanket over her very protectively.
Tucks her in.
Yeah, slay for Cheryl.
And walks over and hears a little bit of a ruckus coming from the living quarters. And she sees Penelope absolutely freaking it.
Penelope is screaming,
my son, that bastard! He killed my son.
He killed my boy.
And Clifford is like, oh, baby, it's
Let
okay.
me hug you.
Which, by the way, I feel like this is one of the only times we actually see them touch.
Yeah.
But they're hugging, and he's like, don't worry, baby. I'll get him. I'll get him for you. And it's
and she's like, promise me.
Promise me. And he's like, I'm gonna get them.
Yeah.
And so Cheryl has the ring.
Didn't flush it.
And she looks at it and puts it back in her pocket.
And carries her gold clutch right on back down that hallway.
So what does she know that we don't?
But it seems like Penelope genuinely thinks that
FP did
it.
Because why would she be acting if she didn't? You know what I mean?
Yeah, why would she
wouldn't be acting
alone at her own house?
Yeah. And so then we close the episode at Pops. Betty has run in there looking for Jughead, and who's already there?
Archie and Ronnie.
And they're like, Betty, wait, hold on. And she's like, I'm never fucking talking to you ever again.
Yeah, which is not true.
Which is not true and will change in 2 seconds.
Yeah, because they're like,
wait, Betty.
It's about FP and Jughead.
We have to tell you, we think FP is being framed.
Bum, bum, bum. They spill the fact that there wasn't a gun, there wasn't a lockbox when we searched the trailer. Mere hours, minutes before it seems the cops found it there.
So somebody is framing him, and the gun was planted. Boom. So has Cheryl eclipsed Betty again? Oh, no.
But Cheryl and Ronnie are now tied.
I see. And Betty, she's still lagging a little.
She's now tied with Archie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
Mm-hmm. Jughead's still lagging a little, which is kind of crazy because I guess not a lot of stuff has been happening with him, but he's been in turmoil, unfortunately.
Oh, trust. And then we do have a good bit of Alice activity.
Oh yeah, but it has to. We just love her.
It has to. Coming down to the rest of the cast, this is our first Josie/Pussycats
in a while,
in a long time, and I fear they weren't at the dance at all, which is so
and it Mayor McCoy even introduced Ronnie and Archie,
and I'm like, I don't think Mayor McCoy
she would do that if Josie wasn't also performing. What the fuck?
Maybe it's implied. It's not even implied that the Pussycats were doing the main set and this was a little feature.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, after the talent show especially, I feel the Pussycats would have gotten the main
but
setup.
They were nowhere to be seen besides the very first second of the episode.
And the implication that they could have done the murder.
Somehow, what the fuck?
Makes no sense. We've got the gun on FP.
Yeah, so that's big.
That's really big.
And we've got some Mary slays, some Fred and Hermione.
Yeah. Some Clifford, Penelope action, yeah. Pretty big reveals with the hair, I won't lie.
Yeah, some Polly action.
But yeah, that's it really.
Big deals,
big moves, money moves.
He has gray hair. He tried dyeing it. Nothing fucking
worked.
Which honestly, this is so me, guys.
So